Here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation. CP from KnicksFanTV here, checking in with you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Midweek stream, midweek catch up. Just wanted to talk about Ime Udoka. Today's news in Knicks land was that Ime Udoka will be interviewing for the Knicks head coaching job, so we can add his name to the list along with Mike Woodson, Kenny Atkinson, Tom Thibodeau. Now we're also hearing Orlando's assistant coach Pat Delaney and Chicago's assistant coach Chris Fleming will also be interviewing for the job. According to Ian Begley at SNY, about 8 to 10 coaching candidates will be interviewed by Leon Rose and crew. So, Knicks doing their homework. Begley also thinks that a decision could be made on the coaching hire by the end of this month. So stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned. So just wanted to come on here real quick, specifically to talk about Udoka and his qualifications. Some of you guys may or may not know about him. He was a player in the league, came up in the league, first on the international scene in France and Spain, then came up, played for a multitude of teams, including the Knicks. Played for the Knicks in 2005, only 8 games, signed with the Knicks as a free agent, but was cut. He played for he played for the Nets as well, played for the Spurs, played for Portland as well. So he made his rounds around the league, but ultimately he found his comfort in the coaching circles, most notably under Greg Popovich's tutelage and the San Antonio Spurs. So he's been with the Spurs for quite some time as an assistant coach, and then just signed with Philly this past offseason. He and Aldridge, he and LaMarcus Aldridge were fairly close, so he was credited for actually bringing LaMarcus Aldridge to the Spurs from Portland, as they had a close kinship. Specialty for Udoka is his defense. Defense is his calling card, and he signed a pretty big deal for an assistant coach with Philly to be their defensive coordinator under Brett Brown. Now, Philly finished, not finished, but regular season-wise, they were around 6th in defensive efficiency, defensive rating, also 6th in opponents' points per game. So that was their calling card. That was their strength, even though that team had kind of regressed a little bit from where they were last year. Let's see how things finish in terms of this NBA restart slated for the end of July. So they were top of the leagues in defense. Udoka's style is a physical style of play, forcing a lot of turnovers and show a lot of creativity in his pick and roll coverage. You know, a lot of traps, a lot of blitz on the pick and rolls, some soft coverage on the pick and roll. And so Udoka's calling card has been on the defensive end. So listen, I think this is a matter of formality, but you never know. You never know. One of these guys, we know Tibbs is the front runner, but one of these guys could come in and shake things up. Maybe one of these guys comes in and really impresses Leon Rose. Udoka's name has been floated around for a lot of coaching vacancies over the past few years. As of recent, he's been linked to the Chicago Bulls job, and he also interviewed for the Cleveland job last year. So he's considered the front runner for the Bulls job, but the Knicks are also going to keep an eye on things. So I don't mind it. I think, some of you guys, when we talked about the Atkinson, Thibodeau, Woodson trio, some of you guys were kind of upset that the coaching pool wasn't expansive. And so now here we go. According to Ian Begley, it's going to be about 8 to 10 candidates. Udoka is going to be one of them. Also, Orlando's Pat Delaney, Chicago's Chris Fleming, in addition to Atkinson, Thibodeau, and Woodson. Steve Popper, Newsday, is saying that maybe Becky Hammond, but I haven't heard anything to confirm that. So maybe Becky Hammond gets a look. Another Popovich disciple, and someone else that's fairly popular in the coaching fraternity right now, in terms of advocating for a job. So let's see what happens. But, Udoka, another defensive-oriented coach, another young coach to add to the consideration. Haven't heard anything about Stackhouse, so we'll see what happens there. No word on Mark Jackson for the Mark Jackson Hive. In personal news, Mark just lost his mom, so let's, lift him up in positive thoughts. Mark just lost his mom recently, so he's certainly, going through some personal trials and tribulations, but that's what we know. And listen, the Knicks went down this route last time. They're in the Fizdale circus, or not circus, but during the interviews before they ultimately landed on Fizdale. They talked to Mike Budenholzer, they talked to Fizdale, they talked to Jay Larranaga. Jay Wright was considered in that group but never actually interviewed. Stackhouse was considered in that group, but I'm not sure if he did interview. So listen, they did do their homework during the Fizdale coaching selection. And so now they're going to do this again. Hopefully now they picked the right guy. Will it be Tibbs? Will it be Kenny? Will it be Ime Udoka or somebody who we're not thinking about? What do you guys think? Leave me a comment in the chat, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP just checking in with you guys for a quick midweek catch up, working on some more interviews. We got a big one on the way, but we're not going to announce it just yet, and working on some others in between time. So definitely stick around, and we're going to continue to try to deliver on some content while we wait for the NBA restart to occur. I want to shout out some super chats. Let's see where super chats are coming in from. Salute to number one, Michael Parker, number one fan of the show as usual, always supporting us, always holding us down. Michael Parker in the chat says, salute to the chat, salute CP, salute to the mods. I think Stackhouse should get a look, even if assistant coach, everyone be safe. Yeah, listen, I think Stackhouse should certainly get a look. Based on what we've heard, he certainly has credentials to be a head coach in this league. Not sure if he would want to come back for an assistant job after he left the league to go to Vanderbilt. I would think that he would want a head coaching job, and it seems like he's put in the work to do so. So let's see where they go with Stackhouse. Sam Garcia, thanks for the super chat. Sam, he says, I want Hammond, Udoka, or Atkinson. Okay. So Sam lists his three in order: Becky Hammond, Ime Udoka, or Atkinson. Louis Luck, appreciate the love. Louis Luck, he says, one dislike on the show must have been Charles Oakley. Listen, we don't worry about the dislikes. We don't worry about that because the love always overpowers the lames. We always say that. So we don't worry about any of the dislikes because the love is always there. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You know the protocol. You know the vibes. Also, please share these videos. Share these videos with a Knicks fan or basketball fan. And remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Amazon Alexa. So definitely remember that. The Mitch Please. Did you guys see Mitch working out? Mitch was doing his workouts and he was wearing the Mitch Please t-shirt. I always knew that was going to be the source of his dominance in these workout videos. Mitch was down in New Orleans or wherever he was practicing, rocking a Mitch Please t-shirt, always repping the brand, repping the fans. And I hope Mitch bounces back for a good year 3, man. Definitely hope Mitch bounces back for a good year 3. But no, that wasn't from Oak, man. Me and Oak are cool. We're all cool with Oak. It's all love. You know, the Oak interview was what it was, but it's just, that's tough love from Oak, man. Tough love from Oak. Jamon Paschal says, love from Indianapolis. Salute to Jamon. How you feeling? C-Max is CP for Knicks head coach. Oh, man. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the consideration. I don't want that stress. Sherwin M says, I'm not a fan of the interviews. Well, it's my show. So I'm going to put the content out that I want to put out. And there's other fans of the interviews. If you don't like it, hey, you watch something else. Viewing is always optional. I say that to everybody. It's never personal. It's always optional. So it is what it is. Don't worry. No worries on my end. Keith Sinclair, what's going on? Salute to all the mods in here. John Talento always in here first. Appreciate you, John. Michael Parker says Budenholzer would have been a nice pickup. Yeah, it would have been a nice pickup. I don't know what happened there. Budenholzer obviously took the better situation with the Milwaukee Bucks. So it is what it is. Will in here. Will from LI, what's going on? Will says, I'm a big fan of the show. You always call in here, Will. Definitely appreciate it. Louis Luck, appreciate it. Joel Johnson's Aki, you hate on KnicksFanTV. Hey, listen, like I said, it's never personal. It is what it is. People see the movement. It's happening. It's happening. So don't even worry about it. And that's all I want to talk about real quick, man, was the Ime Udoka hire. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. And yeah, that's about it. NBA restart on the horizon. What's up with all the Kyrie hate, man? Everybody jumping down Kyrie's throat with all these comments. I just think it's a complete overreaction. I think people are desperate for basketball, and I just don't understand it, man. You got Kendrick Perkins coming out, jumping on Kyrie, and everybody just jumping on this Kyrie bandwagon, man. I don't think the league was ever in jeopardy of being postponed. The players are going to play. Not everybody's going to play. Some players may sit this one out for safety reasons. And, Orlando's supposedly the COVID cases are skyrocketing in Orlando. We heard something like at Orlando Airport, maybe 250 people came down with it recently. Orange County, which is where Orlando is in, is definitely on the rise in terms of COVID cases. So, players like Carmelo have expressed their concerns with how the bubble is going to be, constructed and maintained in a safe manner. So I don't think there is anything wrong with that. Now they're saying they got a snitch hotline for the bubble. Any player found leaving the bubble is encouraged to come forward and dime out their fellow brethren. Oh man, it's crazy, man. All for the sake of a sport, but that's just how it is. They're intent on finishing the season. There's a lot of financial implications, in terms of not finishing the season. And so I think this whole Kyrie thing is a distraction. The whole thing about, him wanting to start his own league and stuff like that. I don't know whether it was true or it was not true. Bondi comes out with that article saying that that's what happened. Nets players came out and said that's completely fake news. Listen, I don't know. It's not Nick related, so it's not really affecting me one way or the other. Like I said, I applaud Kyrie for wanting to take a stand on social justice issues. Let's see how he goes about doing it. The actions will speak louder than the words. I think people are getting too caught up in the words right now, and I think the action will ultimately speak louder. You know what I mean? So that's the word. Robert Paris in the chat. Salute to Robert Paris. He sends us a super chat. Robert Paris always in here. Salute Robert. He says, let me read the chat. He says, let me scroll up and read this. Salute to everybody in the chat. Frederick, I see you. What's going on? Robert Paris says, Rose is being thorough and in short order has put his management team together. Facts. That's exactly right. So far, I like what Leon's been doing with the team. I like how he's been putting it together. He's got a sharp capologist in Brock Aller to come in and navigate the CBA. We never know. The CBA could be changing very soon if they don't restart this. And there is also an opt-out clause for the NBA for next year's CBA. So 2022, they could be going back to the drawing board. So again, the CBA could be changing, which means salary cap could be changing. And so we're going to need somebody like a Brock Aller in there to navigate that and help us, acquire the best free agents, the best bang for our buck. Then he brought in Walt Perrin, your top scout, your lead scout. He brings in Walt Perrin. He brings in Alex Klein, a young, sharp mind, highly respected around the league, a young 26-year-old to be under his tutelage, to go along with Scott Perry. All these guys come in with relationships. That's the word that you're hearing from everyone who has been reviewing these acquisitions is these guys are relationship guys, throughout the basketball hierarchy, the basketball ranks. And so far, the approach is what I'm on board with. We'll see how, the recipe turns out. We'll see how the soup turns out. You know what I mean? Other news, Berman came out and said that Rose wasn't too high on Kevin Knox. Not so sure how accurate that is, but not surprising in the slightest. Kev, year 3 Kev, he's got to come out and show and prove. And unfortunately, he's going to be looking at his third president and possibly his third head coach in as many seasons. So that certainly doesn't help with his development. But, we want to see Kev take that next step and prove that his draft stock was not a fluke. You know what I mean? And I just think Kev is just a young prospect right now trying to find his way. And I think he will. What his ceiling is going to be, not so sure. But, we all know that defensively he's got to get some work done. And offensively, he's got to knock down that consistent jumper. Defensively, where is his fit? Is he going to be able to consistently guard threes? Is he going to be big enough to guard a lot of fours without getting bodied in the paint? Right now, Kev's kind of hovering in that in-between. So we'll see. But, you know, it's in the Knicks' best interest to continue developing them. None of these guys, none of their draft picks outside of RJ and Mitch have any trade value. None. So at the end of the day, you know, they're better off here being developed. You're better off here trying to develop these players and seeing what they become. You know, so that's my take on Kev, and let's see what happens there. Justin Sweeney, appreciate the comment. Definitely appreciate the comment, Justin Sweeney. Who else we got in here? If you're new in the chat, give us a hashtag new. I see a couple like Shaquille Madison looks like a new viewer. Salute to Shaquille Madison. Illa checking in from Canada. What's going on, Illa? John Talento, always appreciate it. Rands Delsky sends us a super chat. They say, CP, if you can pull off a realistic Julius trade to improve our team, what would that trade be and for who? Man, I got to think about that one. I definitely got to think about that one. And first of all, you got to see what the salaries, to make sure the salaries match up, especially where Julius is concerned. And technically, it's got to be worth it. To me, it's not worth a salary dump or something just to trade him just because. You know, Julius has his faults, no doubt about it, but I don't think they should just trade him just for the sake of trading him. I'm not really high on that. I think if you can, again, the Chris Paul trade, if you can make that happen without it costing you much in terms of draft capital, I would consider it. I would certainly consider it, you know, and it goes against all my principles, but I would consider the Chris Paul trade. I think he can help this team. And then there was another trade I was looking at a while back with Portland. Looking at the Blazers potentially offloading a guy like what's his name? I forgot this kid's name. I'm gonna look it up right now. Hang on. He was a draft pick out of North Carolina just last year. Portland, I was saying Nurkic, Nasir Little. You know, maybe a package around Nurkic, Nasir Little. You know, you get a young talent. Maybe you can squeeze in the second round pick or something like that for a Randall to Portland. Maybe, but we'll have to look at that a little bit deeper. And maybe we'll do a show and talk about some trade prospects for Julius Randle. But like I said, I'm not trying to give him away. They're definitely not trying to do that. So appreciate the comment. Let's see who else we got in the chat here. We have super chat from Chris. Chris Eftham, he says, I would love to see Frank under Tibbs. Yeah, certainly. You know, listen, obviously Tibbs is going to come in here with a defensive mindset, but you got to have the defensive horses. Got to have the players that's going to buy into that system and execute it the right way. And certainly Frank would benefit from that, and the team overall would benefit from that. To me, Frank, you know, the defensive side of things is not my issue with Frank. To me, it's everything else. It's scoring the ball consistently, knocking down the three ball consistently. I thought he played fairly well to close out the season as a backup point guard. You just want to see that consistent. You want to see that consistent effort across the board. To me, defense is the last thing I'm really worried about with Frank right now. He's more than adequate on the defensive side of things. But offensively is where I want to see him become more consistent. Definitely. Elbert Toby Scott says, what's going on? Putting Alaska on the map. Elbert checking in from Alaska. Salute to Elbert. He says, putting Alaska, New York Knicks fans on the map. Albert Toby Scott holding it down all the way out there in the great frontier. So salute to Albert. I've never been to Alaska, man. What's it like in Alaska right now? Is it at the point where they're under like the 24 hours of daylight? I always felt like that was a unique aspect to Alaska. You know, what's going on over there. So salute to Albert. Who else we got in the chat? Kenyon Chapman, what's going on? Scotty Shaven, how you feeling? He says a lot of Knicks fans will be upset when Randall's here next year. Well, That's true, but after that, so I don't think it's gonna kill us too bad to have him work on him and see if they can. A CP3, bring in another talent where Randall doesn't have to be that guy. It's slim. The chances are slim that you bring in somebody that be the guy. But if that's the case, then I think he doesn't kill you as much. I think part of the problem with Randall was that he was doing too much. He was trying to be the number one guy when he's really the 3 or 4 or 5 even on some teams. So, it is what it is, man. It's just RP stream. Now we're still kicking. Still up and kicking. Hang on, let's see. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let's see what happened here. We should be up and running. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. So let me know. Just give me a thumbs up if the stream is back up and running. Give me a thumbs up if the stream should be back up and running right now. Had some bandwidth issues, but should be back up and running right now. TM said Feds sweep Randall, cut the internet. Now we back, man. Oakley sabotaging the stream. Now we back up and running, man. Definitely back up and running. So I don't know where I last cut off, but I think bottom line is I don't think they're gonna trade him in terms of Julius Randle. I don't think they're just gonna give him away. I don't see a market that big for him. And so I think more than likely he's going to be back on the team. And so it'll behoove them, if he is back on the team, then get some shooters. Get some shooters to put on in those lineups with him. Hopefully, I think Bullock will be back. You get a more consistent effort from Bullock. Get some more three-point shooting out there. And play to his strengths. You play to his strengths. I think that's the only thing that we're going to be able to do at this point in time. So I don't see them getting Randall out of here. All right, who else we got in the chat? Lawan Williams says stream is fine. Appreciate it. Jonathan Irizarry says CP new fan from Puerto Rico. Salute to everybody down there in PR. We got a lot of fans of Puerto Rico. So definitely salute to you guys. Shaquille says, should we trade for Lowry marketing? It's another trade I would look into if it doesn't cost you too much. I would try to get Lowry on a reclamation project. He's had an off year this past season. We'll see what happens. But he seems like he would stick around in Chicago once they make the coaching change, which they're going to do. But nevertheless, let's keep an eye out on that situation as well. Who else we got? Somebody was checking in from Wyoming, Winnipeg, Canada. Tony checking in from up north. So we got a couple Canadians in the chat. Salute to you guys. NY Nick 821 says hashtag new from Olympia, Washington. Knicks fan since 91, loving the show, bro. So salute NY Nick 821. Definitely appreciate it. He says he's been a fan since 91. Speaking of milestones, today was the 26th anniversary, or not so special anniversary, June 17th, 1994. The Knicks beat the Houston Rockets 91-84 in Game 5 of the NBA Finals at Madison Square Garden. This was the infamous OJ game where midway through the game, the feed cuts out on NBC and they're taking you to California where OJ and Al Cowlings are on a chase running from the LAPD. It was just pandemonium, man. I remember watching this as a kid. I was like, what happened to the game? Like, what happened to the game? I was so pissed. Man. What happened to the game? And then those days, like, I didn't have cable those days. So at that time, I'm like, okay, maybe it's on channel 9, maybe it's on channel 11, maybe it's on channel 5. I'm flipping through 1 through 11 like a maniac, trying to find the game. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And yeah, that was it, man. So this is the cover of the New York Times front page. Rest in peace to Mace. Mason had 17 and 9 off the bench in this game. And that was it. We went up 3-2 and never recovered, man. Never came back without the chip. One more victory will mean one more parade. Never got that parade. Still waiting. Still waiting on that parade, man. It's unfortunate. But yeah, man. Knicks never got there, man. This was the Mason dunk in video.
Harper gets it down, and Mason gives the Knicks a 5-point lead.
Well, the Knicks have been releasing on long jump shots throughout this whole series. They've got about 3 field goals on it tonight, and maybe none bigger than that one.
Starks feeds it ahead. Harper gets it down, and Mason gives the Knicks a 5-point lead.
Well, the Knicks have been releasing on long jump shots
That's it,
throughout
man.
this whole series. They've got about 3
Mason was a special, special player,
man.
man. Mason was a special, special player. Rest in peace to Mason. I posted this on my Instagram and tagged his son, Antoine. Me and Antoine always go back and forth, and he's always appreciative when we shout out his pops. And Mason was a special player, man. I hope some of you guys, especially some of you new guys, saw the Mason documentary that I created for the channel. If not, definitely check it out. Just profiling Mason's whole career arc, and it's incredible. You know, Anthony Mason's story, even to get to this point in the finals, is incredible, man. So definitely check out the Mason documentary if you haven't. And yeah, that's all I want to say, man. So salute to everybody once again for tuning in. Definitely appreciate you guys joining for the midweek catch-up. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, and Stitcher. May have some more interviews coming up on the way, so stay tuned. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Sometimes the notifications don't pop up in the live stream, so we try to let you guys know on Twitter, on Instagram. I also post in the community feed on Facebook as well, so we try to make sure we get the word out and make sure everybody's aware of when we're going to go live and do shows. So working on some more content, no worries, but definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let me know your coaching preference. What do you think about Ime Udoka? What do you think about those revelations? Leave me your coaching priorities in the comment section, in the chat. So to everybody for watching live, YouTube, Facebook, definitely appreciate you guys. Be safe, and I'll catch up back with you guys over the weekend. Peace.